Previously, we have discussed types of sentences function-wise. Now, we are heading towards very important topic related to the grammar of grade 9th, and that is modal verbs. Before heading towards modal verbs, you must be aware about what basically verb is. Verb is an action word which shows an action. For example, read, write, walk, talk. All of these words, it shows some kind of action is ongoing. For example, he is running. The word running shows that an action that is running is happening. Modal verbs are auxiliary verbs that provides additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. हम कह सकते हैं कि modal verbs main verb के बारे में हमें extra information या extra meaning उसको देते हैं. There are approximately 10 modal verbs in English, and those are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, ought to, will, and would. All of these modal verbs are used in English language for different purposes. Now, the question is, how do we use modals, or what is basically structured to use modal verbs? In English, we always use modal verbs before the base form of the verb. Or we can say modal verb is always used before the first form of the verb. Let's see here with an example. Mary could play the piano. Here, Mary is subject, which is in blue color, modal verbs which is in orange color, and verb play is there in silver color. Now, here in this sentence, the modal verb could is used before the word play, which is in first form, play, the piano. Mary could play the piano. It tells us that Mary has ability to play the piano. Now, what modal verbs express? They can have more than one meaning depending on the situation in the sentence. For example, modal verbs can be conveyed in single concept modal, double concept modal, and modal in past. In single concept modal, they have only one meaning. Double concept modal, they have two meanings. For example, if the modal verb can, it can be used to express two different meanings, or we can say it can be used to express two different situations. Modal in past, they are used to express a situation in past. Modal in past is basically used to express something which happened in the past. Now, we will see those categories of modal verbs regarding single concept, double concept, and past modals. Single concepts modal are will, might, should, ought to, had better, may, must, would, shall, could, and can. And past modal are would have, could have, might have, should have, may have, and must have. You can clearly see that the past modals must have the word have with them. Now let's discuss those categories one by one. The first one is single concept modal. Single concept modals are those modals which convey only one meaning. For example, the first modal is will. Will always used to represent future, or we always use to represent something which is being done in future. For example, Joy will travel to New York next year. The next word is might. Might हम उस वक्त यूज करते हैं जब हमें बहुत थोड़ी probability हो. Means के बहुत थोड़ी किसी चीज के बारे में confirmation हो तो उस वक्त हम might यूज करते हैं. Let's see an example. I might move to Canada someday. Which means he is only 25% sure that he might move to Canada someday. But he is not 100% sure, he is not 50% sure, he is only 25% sure. If we want to convey something with small probability, we will always use the word might. The next word is should. We always use should to convey only one meaning, and that is when we are recommending something to someone. For example, you should go to the doctor. Now, in this sentence, someone is recommending someone that he should visit doctor as far as his health is concerned. So, why this should is single concept modal? Because should always represent only one meaning, and that is recommendation. You must always use should while you are recommending something to somebody. For example, I am saying to somebody that you should go through English grade 9 textbook. In this sentence, I am recommending grade 9 textbooks for English. Next word we have is ought to. Ought to is kind of an obligation, or as well as when something is compulsory, or we can say when somebody formally recommend something. For example, we ought to know about first aids. Or we can say you ought to visit Marie this week. That it is your duty to visit Marie this week. Ought to basically formally recommend somebody that he must do something in that specific time. Now let's discuss double concept models. In double concept models, those are may, must, would. These are first three models which we are discussing here as double concept models, which shows two different meanings in different sentences. For example, the first word is may. In first concept, this may can be used to ask permission. For example, for students, you always ask your teacher, may I come in, ma'am? May I go to drink water? May I sit? So all these words in which you use the word may is actually asking for permission. Here the word may is used to ask for permission. Now look at the second may. We can use may to show good probability. For example, we may visit Mexico this summer. In this sentence here, the probability is approximately 50% that you will go to Mexico this summer. Still, you are not sure, or you are not completely sure, but the chance of your visit is pretty much good. So you can use the word may. The second double concept models are must. Must is used to assume something. For example, she didn't arrive, she must be sick. Now, somebody assumed that she must be sick. That's why she didn't arrive on time. So if we are assuming something, so we can use the word must. Look at here. She didn't arrive, she must be sick. This word actually represents this assumption that this man is assuming that she must be sick. That's why she didn't arrive on time. Now, must can be used to show responsibility as well. For example, everyone must pay attention in the class. If a teacher says that everyone must pay attention in the class, it takes in this way that teacher is giving responsibility to students to take interest in the class. Look at the example here. Everyone must pay taxes. So it is the responsibility of everyone that they should pay taxes. The third model of double concept is would. Let's see. Would can be used to represent past. When I was young, I would play soccer player. It means that it refers towards past, that when this man was young, he was playing soccer. The second concept of would is present unreal, or we can say something which is in present but it is not possible. For example, I would buy the car but I can't afford it. Now he would buy the car if he have much money. So buying car is approximately impossible for this man, so that he can't afford it. That's why would is being used here, that I would buy the car. Students, so far we have discussed the double concept model, which were three of them. Now it's time to discuss the remaining double concept model. Let's start with the word shall. Shall can be used in two different ways. The first concept of using shall is educated expression offer. For example, if I ask my cameraman that shall I start my video, it means that I am asking him in a proper manner, in an educated manner, that shall I start my video. For example, let's see, excuse me, I shall go now, or shall I clean it? It means that shall can be used to ask a permission in a proper educated manner. Shall can be used to express contractual obligation. For example, the company shall pay on January 1st. From this example, we can easily assume that it is the contractual obligation of the company that they must pay their employees on January 1st. The next word is could. Could can also be used in two different ways. The first concept of using could is unreal ability. For example, I could go if I had time. Now, this could shows that if he had time, he could go. Could can also be used to represent past ability. For example, she could play the piano, but she can't anymore. By referring towards the past ability, we can also use the word could. We can clearly see in this example that she could play the piano. It means currently she became unaware of that skill, or she unlearned that skill. Now she don't know how to play a piano. From this thing, that could can be used to show some past ability. For example, I could play cricket. It means currently I'm not aware of cricket much more, but in the past I was a good player. The last word here is can. Can also can be used to represent two different meanings. For example, the first use of can is to show present ability. For example, I can lift this marker. It is my ability that I can lift this marker. It is my present ability. We are not talking about past, but can actually represent the present ability of a person. Can also be used to ask permissions. For example, if I ask my mentor that can I have a cup of tea? Can I go outside? Can I have a candy? All of these examples shows that the word can be used to ask for permissions. So students, this was all about the modal verbs. I hope you understand this concept well, because this is very important concepts regarding your English language, English written portion, and as well as creative writing. My name is Sardar Hamza and I am your English instructor on tutoria.pk. I hope you understand this concept very well and this chapter very well. See you in the next video. Thank you.